Welcome back. The percentage of South African researchers working in the business sector is declining. That's one of the findings in the 2019 Science, Technology and Innovation Indicators report released by the National Advisory Council on Innovation. The report says overall private sector investment in research and development has declined in recent years. To talk more about the study, I'm joined by Dr. Mlungisi Cele, the acting CEO of the National Advisory Council on Innovation. Welcome and thanks for joining us on this Sunday afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much.
Dr. Cele, apart from a decline in private sector funding for science, technology and innovation, what were some of the other key findings from this report?
No, thank you very much. The first one is that we continue to improve in terms of producing more people with PhDs, which is a welcome progress. But at the same time, if we compare South Africa with few countries globally, in terms of women researchers, we seem to be doing well as the country. Right? However, we need more young people from schooling level up to university level enrolled in science, technology and innovation if we are to realize the big ambitions that the President has outlined for the country. The other area relates to investment overall in research and development. We have a target of 1.5 growth expenditure as a percentage of GDP. We are at 0.82. We're nowhere near. And yet what we have observed is that government funding has actually increased. In fact, government spending has increased more than what it has budgeted for on R&D, which is a positive sign, and we would like that to improve. But most important, we would like the private sector to increase its investment.
Why has it declined over the past few years?
Well, there may be a number of reasons. Of course, you'd remember the global economic recession has had an impact, but also our own economy hasn't been performing well. And then R&D is usually the casualty when the budget has to be reallocated. So we are hoping that our private sector and government would realize that by investing more in R&D, this could also give us as a country an alternative source of economic growth. But also the consequence of our private sector not investing in R&D has had a negative impact in terms of their global competitiveness. And you see that the recent Global Innovation Index has actually lowered our ranking as a country because our firms are not innovative as much as they should.
What kind of incentives can we offer the private sector to try and induce them to invest more?
Well, you know, government has a tax incentive scheme. And we think that such a scheme needs to be exploited much more. And there are a range of other incentive schemes that are available, and they are offered by the Department of Trade and Industry as well as the Department of Science and Innovation. We need to see more collaboration between the private sector, the universities and science councils, because by enhancing the collaboration between the different sectors, we could see more and better improvement. And of course, the private sector may be incentivized if we are clear about what we want to do as a country.
You spoke earlier about basic, higher and tertiary institutions in South Africa. We know that they're facing a major challenge with both teachers and learners underperforming in the fields of science and mathematics. Yes. What impact does that have on the pool of professionals in the science, technology and innovation sphere?
Well, obviously, you know that general the education system has not been producing the outcomes that we so desired, and yet, of course, it's been improving. Yes. We need, and there are initiatives which are welcome to improve teacher development, which we are hoping that it would have a positive impact. But maybe it's time that as a country we need to think, for instance, on Friday when we were launching this report, one of the suggestions that was made was that we perhaps need to make mathematics a compulsory subject to all students. I mean, this is something that we need to be thinking about if we want to see more numbers of learners enrolling in mathematics. But of course, we need to improve the quality of teaching so that the quality of matric passes in maths and physics could be improved. So do universities as well. We need to see more students enrolling in fields related to science and innovation.
Right, thank you very much. That was Dr. Mlungisi Cele, acting CEO of the National Advisory Council on Innovation. And of course, we know that science, technology and innovation is key if we want to achieve our national objectives. So much more funding and innovation required in those fields.